want everybody to say their name when our YouTube and our Zoom is up. ABC, coming in for Paul, who is in study. Go the other way, go this way.
Okay, so I'm Diane Morel, accessibility coordinator for the city.
Good afternoon, Lisa Beza Allen, Ward 2 City Councilor and the committee member. Carrie Tackett, deafblind support worker and committee member. Diana Gerhardt, committee member.
Carol Magnan, committee member.
My name is Liza Stortini. I work as the community engagement officer for Eastern Seals, Ontario, in the Sault Ste. Marie office. I am Stephanie Perry.
Rick Kohler, committee member.
Sorry, I actually, we forgot our guests on,
We haven't gone all the way through yet, though.
okay,
Go ahead, Sierra.
Sierra, one more chance.
I'm Charlotte Burke, committee member.
You
Now, we have our guests, say their names, please.
mean, those joining us on Zoom,
Yeah.
Sandra,
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Councillor Sandra Hollingsworth with Ward 1, and I just hope everyone's having a good week so far. Thank you.
And Jeffrey King, I'm with the city's legal department.
Folks,
just for everyone's knowledge, Jeff will be joining us on meetings as often as possible. Because we follow the accessibility legislation. He's here to support the committee in making sure that we're following our mandate. Okay.
so. Can we have approval of minutes, please?
A little bit, Jared.
I need a seconder, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, does anybody have any declaration of, in conflict of interest? Being none, I'm gonna move that we move to the new business, which is our agenda for today.
And we have a presentation from Liza Scartini, Community Engagement Officer for Easter Seals, Ontario. So Liza has a visual presentation which was sent out to the committee, and we'll share the screen.
I just want to say thank you for coming, Eliza, and pleased to be here with us today.
Thank you.
And that's it. I want presentation.
Well, thank you all so much for having me here. I was really looking forward to today to talking to you and getting some further insight on some of the projects that we have in plan for Sault Ste. Marie. And I think that this committee would be the perfect place to come to get some new ideas. So I guess to start off, I just want to kind of better understand the knowledge of Easter seals in this room, like everyone here informed of what that is, just making sure. So just a little background. So what Easter Seals Ontario does is we are a not-for-profit charitable organization And we fund mobility equipment programs as well as other programs and services for children and youth living with physical disabilities, in Ontario. We also have things like incontinence programs, scholarship programs, and yeah, and so what I do here in the Sioux is I look for new ways to raise money, from like out of Sault Ste. Marie for the children that we support. You can go to. Thank you. Okay, so I covered all that. So yeah, go back. So yeah, we help kids with a wide range of physical disabilities and medical conditions, including cerebral palsy, spina bifida, muscular dystrophy, spinal muscular atrophy, spinal cord brain injury, and genetic abnormalities. And in 2022, over 1,200 kids across the province benefited from our programs and services. So we are advocates for children with physical disabilities and believe in their ability to achieve great things. So, just a little history of Easter Seals in Sault Ste. Marie. So in previous years, we had a very tight relationship with our Rotary Club. And our two biggest events here in Sault Ste. Marie were our telethon and our snow-a-rama. And in this last year, we've had a bit of a challenging year. One, because, you know, there's no snow. So we were able to put on kind of a snow-a-rama adjacent in place of the actual ride. I held a luncheon for our main participants that come out every year. And just with Shaw's merge into Rogers, we haven't been able to put on the telethon, and just with like certain staff retiring. So right now what I'm looking for is kind of gauging our market to see what will work here in order to generate the most revenue out of Sault Ste. Marie for Easter Seals kids in our area. So what do we need? Let's see, next slide. So that's okay. So yeah, my goal for this year is to send more kids to camp. I have a list of the clientele we have here, and a lot of them are really little. So while engaging our youth ambassador program, I would really like to set a goal to send some of our kids to our fully accessible summer camps. And those are very expensive to put on. They're fully funded through Easter Seals. And essentially, I have a video to show you. So next slide. So, oh yeah. So basically a little background about our summer camps is we are the leader in providing inclusive, specialized recreational programming through two fully accessible summer camps in Perth and London, and they're called Camp Marywood and Camp Eden. And through COVID, we were able to put these on through remote platforms as well. So next slide. So Camp Eden, it is 107 acres of scenic woods overlooking the Thames River in London. That's just a bunch of extra details. Okay. Yeah, this one's located in Perth, and we're able to put on like fully accessible sporting events here, arts and crafts programs, and pretty much everything that all children are able to do except it's fully accessible. So that's my favorite thing that we're able to do at this organization personally. But I can tell you as much as I want about it, but it's easier to just show you. So I provided this video too.
No, I don't think that video runs through there.
You might have-
No, it won't because it's a PDF.
Oh no.
Sorry, if we can, you know what the site is or what?
Yeah, it's on eastersealscamp.org.
Okay. Do a quick search for that.
Easterseals.org/camps/. Okay. Scroll. There it is.
Okay.
It makes you feel included. And you don't get that in a lot of places, whether it's with invisible disabilities or physical disabilities. You feel very outcasted by friends, even when they mean well. You feel like your disability is always seen. But here, everybody has that. They have something, and that's not important. Your disability doesn't matter, it's just who you are as a person. I'm super excited that I'm back at camp because camp is a really wonderful place where kids like me can do anything that they want to do.
It's been so long since I've been at camp and I've missed getting to meet and see my friends and doing all those fun activities.
It feels great to be back after 2 years. I miss coming here. It just makes me really happy being here. It's like a dream. I'm honestly still wrapping my head around the fact that I'm back here after 2 years of waiting.
The way a lot of people look at it is like, you get nervous when you first show up and after that arrival date, it's all fun and games from there on.
I understand the fear, especially when you have a disability, you're often not away from your parents. And it gives you that weird anxiety, but I'm telling you, the second you get here and meet people and make friends, it's going to feel like a second home. My favorite part has been seeing the campers grow and change every week. The ones that are leaving their position on the first day and seeing them dancing at banquet by the end and getting so excited with friends and seeing them really come out of their shells. That's my favorite. There's this line between empathy and sympathy, and before you come here, I don't think you see that. A lot of people sympathize with disabilities, and that's not always productive. So when you come here, you understand, and when you spend long days with the camper, you want to empathize with them, and I think that really changes someone's perspective.
Say that they're accessible, not many places are as accessible as this. They can do everything here, everything is built purposefully for anyone. They just have access to everything, and so many of them turn into that because nowhere else.
If Easterfield camp didn't exist, we probably wouldn't be going to camp at all, because I can't talk on my name another camp that is accepting to kids with all disabilities.
I think our platform is the community. It's the coming together to the campus. Everybody feels like a team effort from all aspects. No one ever says that's not my responsibility or that's not within my area. As we all lend a hand everyone, it's really nice, you know, the campus helping out the campus and all working together to create some happy memories. I was honestly very surprised that everything was accessible. I've always kind of had the issue of being denied to go on certain activities or do certain things because of accessibility issues. So that was a big surprise, and I was able to try everything from the high ropes to swimming to the swing that is 70 feet high. You name it, they have it here.
Everything is awesome here, because it allows you to do the things you don't normally get to do at home.
Even just today, I've gone to the pool and I did archery, which was awesome. I never thought I'd be able to do that stuff because I don't have the greatest upper body strength, but they find a way to make it so inclusive, and that was fun. Easterfield camp is very important because having a 100% accessible place with such amazing staff that builds hope for a more accessible and equitable world for kids with physical disabilities.
This is the hard bit they get. But they talk about the camp all the time. They cry me after they cry when they leave. They sort of camp all year round, and they do everything. I think that's important. It's so accessible and so catered for them. They don't have to worry. If they want to do something, they can do it. They don't have to think, oh, I can't do that because of this. Everything is like try and do that. We don't have to work on it. Or it's just I can't.
And human beings and learn that I will not be
It gives parents respite, and two, it just gives so many more campers independence it gives them the confidence that they can go out in the real world and be independent from their families, from their usual caregivers. They can go out and get jobs that build their confidence.
If there's someone who doesn't really have a voice, essentially, because worry is for life, it's for content, there's no no, they do what they want, and if they want to do something, they'll make it done for them.
Thank you for supporting Easter Seals Camp.
Thank you for supporting Easter Seals Camp and helping kids be kids.
Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you for supporting Easter Seals Camp.
Highlight our accessible summer camps for this presentation specifically, just to give a little snapshot of what we're trying to raise money for. And this is just my personal, the one that touches my heart, just because it's one of our ambassadors in Thunder Bay. She was speaking at an event I went to, and she said that it was the first time in her life where she didn't feel different. So I just felt really touched by that. And in recent years, we have developed a different relationship with our Rotary Club than we have in the past. We are kind of our own entity now, whereas in the past we have had a shared relationship. So we're trying to figure out how to navigate that here in the Sioux with kind of a separated relationship from our Rotary Club and building our own network and our own donors and our own stakeholders and essentially starting from scratch. And I still want to be able to generate the same revenue out of the Sioux that we have in the past with our telethon and our snoworamas. The difference is now is we have limited support. So I have been doing a lot of research on what I think might work in Sault Ste. Marie in terms of our market. I know that we focus very heavily on supporting local here, so I've really been trying to direct my efforts towards that. And you know, I've tried hockey tournaments, I've tried golf and everything, and I think what would be the most beneficial here in terms of fundraising for Easter Seals kids is putting on something that they can participate in. So, in other communities, they do things like Dancing with the Stars and hockey and all these other things. But I think that something that our community could get behind is an accessible sporting event. And that is kind of where I've been focusing my efforts on. I had a meeting with Sioux College last week, and I've been in touch with other people whose area of expertise are on making sports accessible. So I'm really trying to move that forward, hopefully for the fall. But obviously I don't have a lot of knowledge on that and how to even go about doing that. So I came here with a few questions for all of you that I think that you might be able to answer. So one is, what do we have here in Sault Ste. Marie in terms of accessible sports? What kind of resources do we have here? Is it realistic in terms of putting this on in as a fundraising event? And what are kind of our pitfalls and our strengths in terms of accessibility here, especially when thinking about sports? And what do I have written here? Yeah, so essentially I'm taking a more educational approach as I move forward with Easter Seals in our community, with the kind of different relationship that we have with our former stakeholders. So yeah, we are looking for volunteers and resources, and that's why I'm talking to you today.
Can I ask a question then? Or can I?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you have the Access to program.
Mhm.
Can you, the profits that they get off of that, where does that money go to?
Yeah, so essentially it is funneled through our head office, which is in Toronto. However, we do have about, I want to say 40 local families in Sault Ste. Marie and area that are all benefited from the fundraising that we do. So yeah.
So how much actually comes here and what stays there?
I don't know that number off the top of my head. They don't provide that for me, but I just know that the clients that we have here are benefited.
Okay, so is there any way that you can? I can advocate for that card, no problem. Okay, I can get all kinds of people that want that card.
Yeah.
So many people don't even know it exists.
Mhm.
So, if someone purchases that card,
Mhm.
okay, is there any way that you can? Proceeds from those cards go to your Sault Ste. Marie rather than different city,
Right.
because they're being, I don't know the word, to people here in Sault Ste. Marie.
Right.
And I'm not talking just people that wanna buy the card, I'm talking about, all these events and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because I had, just, the little booth there in the station mall. What is that, Symphony Orchestra maybe, I don't know. They never even heard of the Access 2 card. Okay, so I told them about it and I got a hold of the Access 2 card and they sent them a letter, right? I don't know if they're willing to do it, I don't know. Okay, you'd have to go on the website, but people don't even know it exists. So if you can get the different places here in town to offer this
Mhm.
or accept it, people that show their card to accept it, those proceeds, why not try and see?
Mhm.
Because if they'll do that, we'll get a lot of people here.
For sure. I was actually, I went to a Rotary meeting last week and I had a good chat with, the events manager there, and, that's something she really highlighted too. Was just how if we could get more understanding of the local demographic here, that's something that would mobilize our community to help out more. So that's definitely something that I have been working on, and I know in other communities, when they've advocated for a more local approach to their area, they've been successful, so that's definitely something that is on my agenda of things to do. But yeah,
I'd be happy to kind of work together with you
Mhm.
to try to bring out the access to entertainment program more, certainly within city facilities. And then once that's established, it becomes a self-sustaining program, which is great. It's kind of hands off. Provided, there's some kind of assurance
Mhm.
that funds through that program stays within Sault Ste. Marie.
Okay.
We can try to work through that and then maybe bring information back to the committee
Okay.
of what that's looking like and how it will work moving forward.
Okay.
You and I can work together on some of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it. 2 questions.
Yeah.
So when individuals attend camp, can they apply, the whole thing, they can apply to the organization for support to pay for the weekend camp? Is that what the fundraising dollars are going to?
I believe to register for camp, you need to be an Easter Seals client.
Do you need to be a registered Easter Seals client? And what is, you know what the cost is for a week of camp?
I believe I have that number right here, actually.
Yeah.
I don't believe the families pay for camp at all, but to put on, the camps, obviously, is quite pricey because everything is to be made accessible.
So there's no, if you are a registered Easter Seals client and you get a spot at camp, there's no cost.
No,
Okay.
it's
So
only
the
funded through-
likelihood is that by raising money here, you can give more access to more individuals.
absolutely, yeah.
Like, is there a wait list? Like, does not everyone get into camp?
There's limited spots at camp, yeah.
Okay.
So could one donate per a person, like say I wanted to sponsor a child? Is there a price that I could give you and say this is for a child?
That's something that I could advocate for, like a specific child, advocating for them to go to camp, and I have donors sponsoring them. That's something that through advocacy I could make happen, yeah.
Just a couple thoughts, because I sat on other committees that were working with children directly, and I would love to see the volunteers be teenagers themselves as they move in the community hours anyway, and I know we're working well with some students within their own high school, so that would be where I would start.
For sure.
But another idea for a community event, I have 3 children and 1 sports, all sports, didn't want to participate, didn't want to touch a ball.
Yeah,
And not that I don't love the idea of sports, I do, because it's something that you can't access.
yeah,
However, I feel that you may want to consider other activities within the event that are non-sports related to help the others participate. We had, one of the bigger ones that we had at one point was a Christmas event specifically for children only. So an accessible venue so that these can participate, but have a wide range of activities. So have local bands perform Christmas songs, so they can go to a concert for $5 a person or $10 a person. And hopefully those people would sing for free, but also have other little areas. So if it's too loud for one person in a different room, there might be crafts or face painting, hand painting, all Christmas themed for those that want to participate. So just a thought. Something just specifically for kids.
right, okay. I like that. Another thing that I like, while I've been kind of doing my research on the more tight-knit communities within the Sioux is our music community. So I've had something kind of in the works, just as kind of an abstract idea for that. Pardon? Maybe she's helping me with something, I don't know. But yeah, I know people are always looking for an excuse to get out and showcase their music, so I do like the idea of mobilizing the community as well. Yeah, I think
I-
that
I have a question and comment when it's appropriate,
absolutely.
if everyone else is done. I'm glad you went to Sioux College, because I know they have a really good, I'm trying to think of the sport that they offer with accessibility. So basically, I just have a couple of comments that maybe we can work on in the future. Is Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if you've had a chance to chat with Lori Ring of Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce, since he has the pulse on all businesses in Sault Ste. Marie. And there could be an education component there. And offline, if you want to reach out to myself or Diane, I have some ideas on how you can probably engage the Chamber of Commerce business community. Going back to a question I heard from another colleague around the table, you said that there's limited spots for Sault Ste. Marie. I couldn't hear, but did you say how many limited spots there are?
Actually, opening. Right now, they're still advocating for registrants. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the deadline for people to apply to go to camp? Is it too late?
Is it too late? No, it's not too late. Let's see. I believe they start in July. I think the cutoff date is in June. Yeah. Get most of the details having to do with camp and our other programs go directly through services. So like if there's any questions that I can't answer, it's an easy phone call and I can get those answers and send them out to you.
And two other questions. You say for Sault Ste. Marie, I think I heard 40 families.
Yeah.
Has that been on the increase, or has it been 40 families, hard stop 40 families for the last number of years, or is it trending up or trending down? I'm curious.
The last time that I have been in contact with any of the families, a lot of them are very, very young. I would say most of the families that we have now are littles. They're very little, so.
Understood.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that they, when you say that there's no cost to the families, they, obviously their travel costs, expenses are paid for so they can get to camp?
I would assume so. But yeah, I don't have the answer to that. But I would assume so, because everything that Easter Seals provides for these families is to support them. But yeah, again, I can get a definite answer about that and send it back to the committee for sure.
Okay, and one last comment. as my colleague, Lisa Vanzuel will probably say as well, we have tourism dollars. So when you do get to the point where you're looking at an event, you can probably want to work with our tourist department, Travis Anderson, about tourism dollars. We have a fund that you may be able to access. But we need a minimum 90 days advance notice, minimum. Otherwise, thank you for doing what you do and being a great leader in this worthy cause. Thank you. That's all.
Oh. I started to contact the mayor's office about this. But yeah, Wednesday, May 29th is Red Shirt Day for Accessibility Week, National Accessibility Week. I just wanted to put this in here just to let you guys know in case you wanted to participate. And if you wanted our branded accessibility and inclusion shirts, you can contact me and I can get those to you. But yeah, I am getting some for the mayor and some of his colleagues. So yeah, I just wanted to little tidbit of information. Yeah.
Are you getting an inventory to sell locally? Because I know somewhere where you can sell them.
You can have Tanya, can I have a visual? What is it on the screen that you're selling something there?
So I would provide these, but they're red t-shirts, and on them in white writing is I support accessibility, inclusion, and equity.
Really?
I think we're also doing sweaters this year too. Yeah. Yeah, we provide them to like our bigger supporters or bigger names that can kind of provide some more visibility for our cause.
Does it say Easter Seals on here?
It says Easter Seal, our Easter Seals logo is at the bottom of the shirt. Yeah, just the logo.
And the visual it says Red Shirt Day, Action for Accessibility and Inclusion on Wednesday, May 29th. And there's two children wearing the red t-shirts that say, I support accessibility, inclusion, and equity. That was the slide, if you remember that from the slides that I sent. Yeah. Okay.
It would be great if we could wear that when any of the committee members are out.
Well, that's what-
Yeah.
Like that. So Liza, we can order them on that registeredday.org. Yes, yeah, website. Okay. I can send you the link too.
Question, if it's all right.
Yeah, of course.
Does it cost, like, any, like, for myself, I'm on a disability pension, does it cost me anything to get a shirt?
Does it cost you anything to get a shirt?
Yeah.
Well, as part of the accessibility committee, I'd be happy providing you guys shirts.
Okay, then I will take an extra large.
I've made note of that. No problem.
At your camp, this is only a curiosity question.
Yeah.
Okay, so at your camps, what is the greatest accessible feature that is there?
That's such a fun question. Let me tell you. Things like indoor rock climbing. We have I forget what it's called. Basically you can fly from tree to tree. What's that called? Zip lining. Zip lining. There's kayaking, there's canoeing, there's wheelchair basketball, there's lacrosse, there's a list right here that isn't working at the moment.
Can I recommend to the committee members, if you want to go to easterseals.org, and everything from what we're talking about here is on easterseals.org. Check it out. I always do, but especially around telephone to try to get myself familiar with, different things. So, I would suggest that any committee members, if you want to, check it out at your leisure and the more education, the better it is to help them.
I guess the second part of that question would be, have you ever had anybody actually go there just to observe, just to walk around, just to see that maybe there's something accessible there that we haven't figured out? You know,
Yeah.
our ideas, okay? So we give you ideas, you give us ideas. So there might be something there that never even crossed our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. My supervisor and I have been talking about maybe sending me there this year, to get some ideas. I'm new to this position as of like a year ago, so I haven't been able to go yet. And I'm not sure if my predecessor did or not. But yeah, that's something that has definitely been, discussed, is sending me to camp just to see, how amazing it is there. They talked about sending me last year, but the timing just didn't work out. Hopefully this year. Hopefully.
Sometimes there's things that people don't even think of.
Absolutely.
And you would share that with us if you come across something.
Yeah.
Can I share a story that really quick?
Oh, please do, yeah.
I was watching EasterSeals.org, and this young boy, comes out of his cabin. He loved rain so much that the counselors would go and spray the spot just for him to jump in. So you're asking, can we give you feedback? Yeah. That family, the little boy was so happy that he didn't care. He didn't care what was there. He didn't care. So they do adapt the program to you first.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
I really would go down the road, like to know more numbers as to how many actually come from Northern Ontario compared to there. So 85% are from Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
If it's 40-50% from here, I'm all in.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. That's kind of a hurdle that, we've been dealing with for, quite a long time now. And I think that's why I'm kind of shifting my approach to more awareness and education, because maybe there's a family, who isn't registered, with Easter Seals that.
But like I say, you're already booked almost like, first come, first serve, and if they were at the bottom of it.
Right, right. No, yeah, I can look into that. For sure. Yeah, and that's just like one of the things that we do for children and youth with physical disabilities. I think it really showcases what our core values are, and just like allowing spaces for kids to just be kids, like they're going to camp like every other kid.
So how do you pick these people that go to camp?
I don't know, I'm not in charge of that. That goes through our services department, but you just need to register.
Could you find out?
I can try, yeah, I can try.
Because, you know,
Sure, camps, several camps around here,
I'm taking notes, so don't worry.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, things, questions, and any action item.
thank you.
If there's 80 spaces, okay, and 70 of those spaces go everywhere else, and only maybe 10 spaces here in the Sioux. And then next year, same thing over and over again, and then 10 spaces here, and then it ends up always being the same 10 people that are going.
Right.
How is this gonna be,
some of them will age out.
Yeah.
but so will the people that are waiting?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why I'm kind of focusing on how to make accessible spaces here, like more of them. like doing an accessible sporting event, for example. So maybe if there's a child here who didn't register to go to camp or just isn't going to camp, there's an option for them to do something that they do at camp here.
That was kind of my question, was what kind of opportunity do the children have within our city? Do the 40 of them get together? Because this camp makes them feel so inclusive. Do we do that here locally?
That's why I'm kind of here. I kind of had the same question. Yeah, like I really wanted to know, what options we had here for children and youth with physical disabilities to just do regular things like play sports or just go out and, you know, hang out with each other. I was actually in touch with somebody named Scott Gray. He used to be the head of the athletics department at Sioux College. He doesn't work there anymore, but he used to run the wheelchair basketball at Sioux College. And I got in touch with him just to like ask him questions about it and figure out some like logistics. And he also did a program with Thrive years ago called Invisible Wheels. Yeah. And as far as I know, those don't exist anymore. So that's kind of why I want to shift my approach to making Sault Ste. Marie more local or more accessible for Eastern Seals kids. Because maybe they don't want to go to Southern Ontario for camp. Maybe it's too far. I don't know. So the option is limited for them here in terms of what they can do recreationally. So yeah, that's a big reason why I wanted to come and talk to you all today. Just if I am to do that, if I'm to set that goal, how realistic is it? And what do I need to know to do that? Because we have the option to do it here because we're expanding Easter Seals in the Sioux now that we're not with Rotary anymore. Eric?
I have to, let Craig Polish speak, he's been waiting very patiently.
That's okay, I know there's a lot. My mind is working overtime in a number of ways.
I created,
But it's a concern because the infrastructure that existed when I was the age of the county. One upside of being somewhat segregated is that information flows smoother. It may sound weird, but because we all knew each other, there was things that were settled over the lunchroom table at Merrifield, which was Thrive's predecessor. This kind of information would flow there. It was targeted. One meeting you could get most everybody. The way the things are set up now, folks are integrated into their communities but scattered. You can't get a hold of everybody with one phone call and one visit, which was the way it was done back in the day. And I served as Rotary Ambassador in 1973. So I go back a very long time, as I used to tell the folks at the Rotary Club, I go back to ladies of Rotary. Which caused the president of Rotary that year said, don't mention that on the television. I know the rule changed in 1975. I know the story. The U.S. Supreme Court was taking the taxes out, but that's a story for another day. So that's what I'm thinking. As to local accessible sports, nominal, minimum. Lots of things have been attempted, very few things have been continued. Mr. Gray, two colleagues of basketball, there was bowl. There's still bowl. When Ms. Gellens had her stroke, she was sort of our sports link at one point. You folks ski and water and winter I think that's probably the most I'm aware of.
I'm gonna be honest with Craig, I really don't know if the bowling is still going on, and
It is. Thank you, Sierra. Thank you, Sierra. We know about nothing is coordinated, Michael. It's catches, it's ad hoc. It's by the seat of our pants, individually driven. Now, other municipalities have sponsored recreation programs, but that applies to all recreation full. Sault Ste. Marie doesn't sponsor. The municipality is the landlord. This building is relatively acceptable. We can get to the ice in this building. We have sledges, and there's history and discussion of how those develop. We don't have the time to go into today, but they're here. I don't know how heavily they're utilized. We never quite got to the organizational team stage. We looked into it, we did the background research. Getting folks here in the middle of the afternoon when that exit ring is open. Evening, basically, that's the tough nut. We do basically from 9 to 3 in the afternoon, facilities here are open, and the city was very accommodating, and basically I was told, hey, if you can get folks here, we can find you the other side. But in the evenings, the phrase that the former radius manager put me in the gents here was forget it. We were high school classmates, so you knew you could speak frankly. But that was out of earshot of other folks too. So there's opportunities, but if you've got to drive, there's a need. I don't know if people are really know you pointed out in your own slide, your visibility is declining.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything you can do on that score, and I don't know if the merger with Rogers and Shaw is going to help you. I mean, that looks like the phrase dog breakfast comes to mind, but we'll just leave that. We don't know for certain, but change is not always progress.
Yeah.
And that's, thank you, Derek, but I said, these are things that we're just boiling, so. I vented.
Okay, before, any more questions, comments from me?
Just a quick comment, kind of related to what Frank was saying. I know there are a few accessible, I wouldn't even call it an event. Friends of ours, their sons were able to ski because of certain programs and things like that. But I don't know if there's anything in particular that brings the, or more groups together at such an event, whether it be socially or with sports and physical activity, one or the other or both. But I think it's great to offer accessible skiing because it's something that they had never taken part in before, but it didn't help them to get to know the other kids that
Right.
were also getting to do the accessible skiing and get them to socialize and get them to feel like part of the group play.
Right.
So I really feel that the socialization part is just important.
100%. Do you happen to know off the top of your head what that program is called?
No, but there's a family I can get you involved in, because I think too, the parents are always the best advocates, right? With these
100%.
ideas and what has worked, what doesn't work, what they feel with the kids could benefit from.
Some of the parents have been a godsend for me. They've been amazing. Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. But yeah, if you want to send that family my way, they can just give me
Kids
more
are too
insight.
old now, but I think they just miss the socialization part, if I had to speak.
Yeah, and if they have knowledge they want to share, I'm open to listen because with the organization that I work for, I have the opportunity to make meaningful change here, and if they want to be a part of that, then I would love any help.
They would be great helpers because they've been there, done that, they know, and make them feel like part of the community again.
Yeah, I don't know if many of you remembered, one of the ambassadors from a few years ago, Benny McDonald. Yeah, he's awesome. I've been in touch with his family quite a bit, and like he's aged out now too, but I'm still in touch with their family, and they have helped me so much.
What is CH? I don't know.
Yeah, and actually March of Dawn is our sister organization. So yeah, our any resources or like any supports that an individual needs once they've aged out of Easter Seals, they go to March of Dawn.
And what age do they have to be to go to camp for the first time?
I believe I want to say 12, but don't quote me on that. That's another thing that I have to get the number.
So targeting those under 12 would be important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because there's some activities that like a really little person, I don't
Can
think.
I bring some background and then we have to end this?
Please do, yeah.
Okay, for families, you have to have like a 7-year-old kid. For a family group, and for the person, like let's say my brother and myself went My parents were nervous at 9. Just in this, so we were sent to Easter Seals camp at 10 years old, so
Okay.
it's what the parents' comfort level is. So, and with that, I do apologize, but we do have to get on to other business.
Of course.
So if you can leave a card or leave information with Diane.
Yep.
And
I have your information, so it's
You do.
fine.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Liza, you're welcome to stay. You don't have to, but you're welcome to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the insight you've been able to provide me as, you know, we are kind of navigating this. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Life is also a great quarter of volunteer.
I am. I love Grocery for Good. I will always, always, always promote it.
And are you originally from the city?
Yes.
I'm glad I came in. I would know nothing about this, so this is great.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again for coming.
I'll get you your shirt.
Next, we're gonna have a park discussion. And Diane. Yes, it is Diane, who I am reporting.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just delivering a little bit of information from the, Parks and Culture, program, Virginia. About some park redevelopment that's going on. So, council has granted some funds to be able to do park redevelopment. And really, that means there are 3 parks that we've got around, neighborhood parks that are a little bit in need of some tender loving care.
Sprucing up.
Some sprucing up. And then there are others that are basically a large green space. There's no park equipment, no children's equipment in it at all. So, through Virginia and Brent, Lamming and myself and a couple of other people working together, 2 parks have been identified, tentatively at this point, but they are Parkland and Westwood. And there will be some park development, some equipment going in, some children's equipment. And since the committee has allocated part of their annual budget for parks, there are 2 different lines that could be used here. First of all, last year, the equipment for park equipment and benches were not used by parks. So there is a request to access those funds, which have gone into reserves. So it's 10,000 for each allotment, so 10,000 for the park equipment and 10,000 for the benches. And it was felt through parks that they could have some efficiencies in shipping if they combined last year's with this year's. But because the project was not started from last year's funds, the funds went into reserve. So it is a formal request to council for reserves funding to be able to put towards equipment in both. When we met, there was one piece of equipment that really stood out to me, really got my attention as far as accessible park equipment, and everything must be inclusive. These days, we must build inclusive parks when we're reconstructing or building new. And so the equipment that is being looked at right now is inclusive, and what the committee is going to be contributing towards is something that is fully inclusive. So, I did send out the link for the, what was it called? The We Go Round Inclusive Merry-Go-Round.
I think you said it was the last thing, but.
Okay,
Right.
maybe, I think we've got it. Yeah, thank you. So we'll play it's just a very short video of the inclusive merry-go-round.
Enjoy this product. So we got seating. Got the wheelchair.
Engage in this thing. This is a very cool way to. This is the way to be able to take it on, however. They are.
Painting a smooth transition from playground. What we did is actually I both the deck and the skirt and the gap and the school. One of the safety features that we incorporated into the legal route is a resistance mechanism will control the speed rotation to a plenty at safe speed.
Beyond, this really gap allowing me to fly my chair on pretty easily. I can spin around here. I can move around in this area. The we go around, we're able to fit where the face each other. We're able to see however we choose to be able to work together.
So that's one of the inclusive pieces of equipment that we looked at. It may or may not be that exact piece. But it would something of that sort. So, the request is that, recommend that council approve the use of barrier removal reserves of 10,000 for the purchase of accessible park equipment at Parkland and Westwood Parks, and 10,000 for the purchase of benches for use at Manzo Park Splash Pad, as well as other areas in the park. Any questions?
Any questions, comments?
Need a vote?
Okay, I need a.
Craig has a question.
Eric, I was prepared to second, I didn't prepare to all
Okay, I did expect it.
Sure,
I need a mover
that was what I was about.
and I need a your second.
I can,
Okay, all in favor?
I, please don't want me to say it, so without shipping costs.
They are.
What's next thing?
The process for the use of the water wheelchair and the flat pad water wheelchair. So I sent that out. This is today, and I thought I printed it. Oh, still in the printer, excuse me. So this is just, Virginia and I speaking together, trying to figure out how do we make, we purchased last year a used water wheelchair for, the Bellevue Park splash pad. We now have 3 splash pads altogether, which is amazing. And we've got some funds that we can put towards the used water wheelchair in each one of them. The challenge is in what process do we follow to make sure that it is safe and it is usable and accessible for families that need it. So, I did send these out, but I'll read them to you. This is the process to access the use of the splash pad water wheelchair. And the first one is, please note that, and this would be on the wall at the place where this would be locked up or available. The water wheelchair is first come, first served. We talked about a reservation system, but that becomes labor intensive for someone to try to manage that, and that just doesn't seem reasonable. We expect people to be courteous and share the use of the water wheelchair if more than one person would like to use it on the same day and at the same time. Register at, and the website would be listed there, or to call, and it would be my phone number to receive the registration form. And then return the registration form to the general accessibility email address, or deliver here to me, or it would be the pool if the office were closed for some reason. Then the person will be notified of approval for the use of the water wheelchair and will receive a code to access the lock on the water wheelchair. So we think that the best process will be having some kind of a lock attached to it in the universal chain ring, with some kind of a code, a numbered code or a lettered code, so that once people have registered and I have their contact information, that they would then receive the code and they would be able to access the unit. And then we ask, please do not share this code with anyone. And then return the water wheelchair to the space where you retrieved it from and relock for the next person. And the use of the water wheelchair is for use at city-owned splash pads and is a trial, and we may need to adjust the process. Meaning we don't expect to get it exactly right first time out. There's things you just don't know that you don't know. So that is a draft process. And I'm looking for feedback from the committee on any thoughts. Will this work? Do you have other ideas? Maybe if you think of something later, happy to receive that.
The splash pads, Monica, supervised?
They are not. There is not staff on hand. There is no staff on hand.
So that code, if somebody punches it in and they go back next week, is it gonna be a different code?
No, it will be the same code through the summer. Yeah, unless there's been a problem, in which case we may have to change the code. I'll have registration information for anyone who is already using it. So I can contact them and give them the info.
I think it's a good start, trial and error, that's a good start.
Yeah, thank you. Craig?
I'm the only one suggesting, I agree with everything said. Association or we must be the only municipality with a water wheelchair.
Amazingly enough, we actually are.
Hope for the love of.
Yeah.
So we are, there's not a person who done something right, I'm just going, this sounds like a fair, there are a lot of splash pads in the province of Ontario that even I, as a non-splash pad user, are aware of. I was surprised with the first person, with the first folks out of the block on this one. This is,
Yes,
this was a surprise.
we are inventing the wheel here.
Got you. It's like when they had that snowmobile to the backs. Goes back.
Yeah.
Sandra had a-
Oh, yes. Sandra.
I think it's a great start, Diane, and I just want to suggest this idea. With regards to the code, may I encourage you to speak to Virginia McLeod and Travis Reed to make sure it's well tested. I mean, the worst of the worst is if the code doesn't work, right? And someone is there. And if hypothetically someone's struggling with the code, can we put a phone number close to the chair so that someone can call saying, I'm having troubles with the code. They may forgot the code or for some reason, some dirt got into the system and it gets locked. The worst is when you're really excited about using it and something just goes wrong.
Yeah, I have my phone number and the email contact on this, but you bring up, I'm not here 7 days a week.
Exactly.
and It's through the summer, so we'll have an alternate phone number. We need to figure out who that is.
Yeah, and I know I'm becoming demanding, but I know on the weekends there's park staff actually housed down at Bellevue Park and in that little office. And it'd be great if their daily routine is that they go and check out the wheelchair and they make sure that it looks good and make sure that the code is working. You know, as they're going around picking up garbage, I just want to try to think about all ways that we can prevent some, you know, disappointing clients. That's
Yes.
all.
Thank you for that, Sandra. You remind me, there's one step that I left out, was that for the night, when everything gets closed up, the park staff will move it into a secured area, into the, I think it's a bathroom, and there's some other equipment in that. I don't know what all it is. So for the night, it will be locked up there, and in the morning when they go in, that will be part of their daily maintenance, is to bring it out, lock it into the accessible change room, so that it is accessible for families.
Awesome. You covered everything. Yep. Great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is what's the name of it? It's actually a youth water wheelchair. It's not really a water wheelchair. It is a youth shower chair, because they don't have such a thing as a youth water wheelchair, but there are youth shower chairs.
So what would be the difference of this than just a regular chair?
Okay, yeah, that's right. It is intended to be wet. It does have wheels, yes. Yeah, and somehow they're different because they're meant to be in a wet environment so that they don't rust.
Okay, so when it's being in use, what prevents them from, is there only a certain area on the splash pad they can go, or what prevents them from wheeling all over the place and somebody else coming, okay? And
There is nothing to prevent that.
like, is there a rule?
Hold, make bubble wrap. Yeah, we hope that people will be courteous and thoughtful to other people who would like to use it. And these are some of the unknowns that, like, we don't know what's really gonna happen. Someone could unlock it and go home with it. For all we know.
Create new adventures for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New experiences.
To add to that, having Tessa in marketing do some sort of information, especially a video. If there's something available, people don't read and don't listen. So they do are always waiting for word of mouth. And I think that would be
I didn't clip on Shaw or Roger's new cable TED, for lack of a better phrase. I'll find it.
That is an excellent idea with Zoe there in the media, kind of picture with Zoe's title is that she's doing the media stuff. I'm sure something can be, excellent.
So, I'm just trying to picture this. Okay, so let's say I'm a little kid. I'm at the splash pad and I'm playing. And then somebody comes on this chair and is wheeling all over the place. Okay, now somebody else is sitting on the bench and they're saying, why is that person over there in that chair in the water park? Why? There's kids playing there. Okay, somebody's gonna get hurt.
I don't think that's gonna happen. At least not with the youth water wheelchair. The youth water wheelchair, it is very small, and it is not something that the individual is able to move by themselves. We have used an adult water wheelchair, which can be self-propelled, but I'm hesitant to put both in at the same time. I want to try because I think it's mostly youth that will be at the splash pad. So I wanted to try this as one piece of equipment,
And
and let's figure out the.
Yeah, and we go through lots of parent supervision. It's not like we just turned out and lose 50 kids and parents are gone.
Well, geez, actually, I've seen that, but that's not
Yeah.
what my concern is. Why not, can you make those pairs of different colors, so they stand out and people?
Oh, they are, I think it's colors is a bright blue.
Yeah.
I think it's bright.
Is that something on it, or?
People know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be any question about what it is and why it's being used. The seat itself, it's a bit of a slim type of seat, and it's got some seat belts on it, for seat belts for the legs, seat belts for the waist, and even a chest strap. And I think if you see a youth that is using, you know, some of these straps just to make sure that they're safe in the chair, I think there'll be no question about what it's for. And they're not self-propelling either. A parent will be there moving them around through the apartment. Okay, that as well. But you never know, Carol, you never know what can pop up.
Yeah.
You don't know, you don't.
Yeah.
Andrew has another question.
Thank you. And I know that Jeffrey King is on this call with us, and I'm assuming he is working very close with you, Diane, obviously, to make sure that the legal aspect, the risk management is being dealt with. For example, those using this wonderful chair must be supervised at all times by either the parent or caregiver. And I'm sure all that legal piece has been worked out and will be published somewhere.
Is hearing about it. But I was going to ask Jeff, do you see anything that we're missing, which is. Sounds like Councillor Hollingsworth has brought up some risk management stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a little hesitant to comment overall right now, but I would say the use of that splash pad is consistent despite how it's being used in this instance. I don't think that would be of great concern, but certainly it is something that if we wanted to raise it with our insurance provider, just to see if there's anything that we should be highlighting, they would be potentially, if there was a substantial claim, right, the ones that would be responding to it, and they're offering us the coverage. So it's certainly, if it's a proposal that's going to go forward and we want to bounce it off them, that is certainly an opportunity there. They may also have some recommendations or likewise in other communities that have used something similar, and be able to give us some additional guidelines as well that they'd like us to potentially adhere to. Again, falling back that they're usually, when those claims exceed certain limits, the ones responding. So that might be a good direction forward if this is a concern. To me, it certainly sounds like what I've heard to date. It's something that we anticipate will be, used appropriately. So kind of, I guess, personally, and not maybe wearing a legal hat, I don't see it as being too problematic. Hope that's helpful.
And Jeff, would I go through you for this? Find out if there's someone else that should be tracking this by?
Yeah, I mean, Shelley Olar is our risk manager here, so her or Melanie are best if you wanted to direct it to themselves and copy Karen Fields on it. And from there, it'll get forwarded off to where it needs to go to get those comments back to you.
Okay, perfect.
We are the first one in the province, I mean. Nobody's been brought before the bar of justice because of an accident.
That's right, as far as we know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, Carol.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a try. Because otherwise I see a lot of youth with disabilities not being able to go play in the splash pad because they're in a power wheelchair.
Oh, God.
And see, I can picture just somebody being in the
Using
spot.
the weapon.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've seen it. I've been knocked over by people in chairs deliberately. I've seen it in my neighborhood, some of them with other kids, I've seen it.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Well, what would you be thinking when you're saying that you see that? I'm thinking, what is this chair for? And Wade, are you thinking
Probably
like 7-year-old? And what do you think the chair would?
I think they're I think they're, you know, anywhere, I'd say 4 to 10, somewhere in that range, 10-year-old range. And it is not self-propelled, it has to be propelled by an engine. Because it has smaller wheels on it, and I'm making a circle, Carol, in my hands, about maybe 6 inches.
I'm thinking it would be a great asset for especially parents, like again, 1, 2, 3, 4. The older ones, it's beyond them anyway, I think, other than, but those are the ones that are gonna get the most use and the most value out of it.
Yeah, I hope so, and it is a trial.
Exactly.
It is absolutely.
I know as a parent, I would love that if I had, I would be there with my little, like, yay, guess what we can do.
Right, it becomes inclusive.
Yeah.
And that's the intent behind it,
Mhm.
but of course, there are a lot of unintended
Oh,
consequences with almost anything.
oh,
I mean, under 10, you would hope that they would be accompanied by a couple, right? There, you would hope.
And the code is available only to parents, unless they give it to their children, but
Right.
it is only available to an adult.
I was also wondering if we could use the canteen staff as a backup if there were problems or someone forgot a code or it was any numerous problems that could occur if that staff could be as a backup. Not that you want, at first I was thinking, well, they should just have the key and then at least they know who they're giving the key to and that person is accountable until they return the key. But that's not easily acceptable to walk that distance to get the key. But if there was a problem, they could make their way there.
I don't know if the canteen, you're right, it
Yeah.
could be a good thing, I don't know how often they're there.
That's a backup to your phone number, whoever's number, that your, at least there is a code that exists. If you don't answer the phone, they could feel like they're going, if it's open, to a place.
It is
There's
another.
nothing else close by, there's nothing visually, reading, accessible, face to face. Yeah.
Can I just, say something really quick? When I was 8 years old, I first got my electric wheelchair. So they don't start kids on electric wheelchairs till they're about 8 or 9. And I had my manual wheelchair when I was 7 years old. To 10. Forgive me again, I just asking for time check.
We are almost 3:30, Eric.
And I've got the alarm set for 4.
Okay, no, I'm just.
So if there are no other questions or comments on this, I mean, we'll keep you apprised of how this will go. Are we okay to move on then? Airport.
Okay, yesterday, me and Diana were here. We have been asked by the Sault Ste. Marie Airport to go do a site plan,
A site visit,
a site visit.
yes.
And what it is, and correct me if I'm saying something wrong. What it is there's new legislation coming into effect.
The Accessible Canada.
The Accessible Canada Act, so all airplanes, all trains, all buses have to be wheelchair accessible.
Not necessarily all buses and because any vehicles or anything that crosses provincial borders, I think 2 or more borders is regulated by the federal government. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, so the airport has, they gave me a call and they asked to come and do a presentation and a consultation with the committee. Because part of their process, they must create an accessibility plan and they must consult with people with disability. So in a bit of a pinch, they're like, where do we find people with disability? So of course, the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the city was something that I'm sure that we will So I talked to them about doing a presentation here, but I also suggested that there might be a much greater value in going to the airport and giving our feedback on site. So feedback about the accessibility, the physical accessibility getting into the airport, right from the parking lot, parking spaces, curb cuts, entrances,
Soup to nuts.
it's soup to nuts, that's right, for physical, for cognitive, for vision, for hearing loss, covering all of those things, including the announcement system while we're in the airport. And, oh, I forget her name. She loved the idea anyway. She thought there would be great value in that consultation process.
Is it Emma?
It is, Emma, thank you very much. Yes. So I would like to propose the date or the week of April 1st, which gives plenty of time to try to organize it. And I'll send out an email asking for you to respond. Is there a day of the week that does not work for you? It's going to be afternoon, probably, I don't know, from 1 till 3 or 2 till 4 again. So I'll send that out asking for your feedback. And then for anyone who requires transportation assistance, we will make those arrangements as well.
Is it gonna be? So you're seeing the parking lot, everything, so when you're in the airport, and then you gotta go behind that door to get on, you got another room back there. And then the security area, will that include that?
I don't know the answer to that question. It's a very big question, Carol. I will find out about that. I suppose it depends upon whether the area is being used for flight, going out or not. So I'll find out about that.
And does this include? Oh, you asked them if it includes also climbing onto the plane, okay? Because I phoned my sister, her cousin there, and I told them, because they right? They used to work at the airport years ago, but they're in Windsor now. He still works at the airport there. So told her to think about it for a few days, if he can think of anything, because she also has vision. So if they can think of anything that needs to be changed or adjusted or whatever for accessibility in the Sioux Airport, not Windsor, in the Sioux Airport, okay, then they're gonna let me know. Okay. So, but that security section onto the plane, that's also something that needs to be.
Getting in there at the airport is also much be awkward, ladies, because of the security rules have been tightened in the number of environments for many number of months. On the years, we will use the arm race on occasion for social and other events that's been foreclosed due to D&D concerns, and I'm not sure. Let folks wander about the airport unescorted anymore. For a threat. Those rules have been tightened.
But the accessibility has to be consistent
Yeah.
throughout,
I'm not
you know what I mean? So that's-
preaching to the choir, my dear, but I think there may be getting in there to see it. Or something may be awkward.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just,
It would have to be at a certain time.
yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Might be something even our host can't arrange without permission from her superiors, I would imagine. You know, so there's layers.
Okay, any other questions or concerns?
I would, can I just ask you on the record, our friend Diane, can we get, my friend, my worker from CLA?
Brendan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for that date, so anything that you're gonna CC, need to CC him as well, and then we'll get this all together.
Sure.
Thank you. Old, some old business. First of all, is there any questions? Bill, or we just go to old business?
I think we've had a great meeting.
That's the accessibility coordinator annual status update.
Okay, we're gonna have to,
This one is really, I sent it out. It's the accessibility coordinator's annual status report. It's actually a report to council on how we're doing with our accessibility plans, activities this past year. Did we do what we said we were gonna do according to the plan? If we didn't, how come, what happened? So that's all in the report, and it's in draft form still. I'm still changing and tweaking a few things, but the meat and potatoes, the actual content will remain the same. It's just a bit of formatting and changing of stuff. So if anyone has any questions or comments on that, I'd love to hear from you, and then when it's finalized, it'll go off to council probably in April.
any question, any more questions? Comments?
Stephanie, can you check what's in the chat? Do you still have a question, Sandra?
No, that was from earlier in the meeting, but thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Our last item, I think we're in that schedule here, is area renewable updates, which is parking.
Okay, the next, thing is with aerial removal buckets, and that's parking.
But it's the area removal process,
Very removal,
which is the parking. I think as I reported at the last meeting, there were very few area-free parking tickets handed out over the last while. So there's been a few things that we've been looking at. One is the contract that Norpro has to issue tickets. And while there is a contract and they're doing what they can, they sometimes have limited ability to be able to respond at a specific time, because it's not a separate contract that they've got a dedicated staff person. It's a staff person that is on shift and is doing their rounds. And if they're tied up with a specific issue at a specific location, they can drop it and come to do a check. We've asked for them to do some regular checks, do drive-throughs. I've let them know specific times when the road here is very busy, as well as the GFL center when there are things going on. It's very busy. So they'll do their best for that. We've also asked for a quote for them to do a blitz, a parking blitz, barrier-free parking blitz. So we're waiting for that. And if and when that happens, we'll do some education. There is there's a social campaign, I think it's called, what it's called. Hold on, I have a poster in my office. It's called Respect the Space. So it's access file, parking, people not understanding what the access file is for, and parking on the access file, which is actually part of the parking space. So along with that, you all know that in the fall, we implemented a new signage thing here at the roads that said no parking access aisle. And it was an epic fail. People park there because the sign looks far too much like the accessible parking product. So yeah, I use the term ethnic
We thought,
space.
hey, there's another spot.
Exactly. So we're working on changing the signage, something that is much clearer. And, Jeff, would you, do us the honor of explaining a little bit about, what you've done in the past with the access aisle being part of the parking space?
Yeah, certainly, Diane. Thanks for the opportunity to do so. So we have had these charges before the courts in my time as a prosecutor, and what we've done is we've really looked at the access aisle as being part of the actual call it painted accessible space. So that barrier-free space, right? So you have it where you would park the vehicle or where you're supposed to park the vehicle. And then obviously the aisles that are occasionally painted on both sides or depending on the configuration of the spot. So we have had individuals that will utilize those aisles. They have been ticketed and we have had successful prosecutions in deeming those aisles, and having the courts recognize that just because it's kind of painted a little different or isn't exactly that marked parking area, being parked in it is still prohibited, and you can still capture it under that offense of about $300 for being parked in an accessible space. So that's been successful in the past, and we certainly will continue to do so when those if and when those charges land in front of the courts. Occasionally, because these are tickets, people could certainly pay them. And we don't see them that way. But again, if push comes to shove and individuals do challenge them, we have had success. So that was important certainly to share with this group that is working on that front. I think certainly with some of the proposed changes that we're looking at on a go forward, those will also be helpful as well. So I think that both summarizes that, Diane. Don't know if we wanted to jump into anything else. Feel free to let me know.
Thank you, Jeff. That's a good summary. So we are changing the sign here, more clear that it is not a parking space. And if we find that is effective, I guess we won't know if it's effective or not, but hopefully it will be clearer. Then we'll discuss this a little bit further with legal, and we'll look at changing the zoning bylaw to include that signage so that it becomes more enforceable as well. And part of that will also be part of that, the social media campaign about respect the space. So we'll do that first. We'll do education to the community first. It's really a $300 fine for someone who has a disability, and an accessible parking permit can be very overwhelming for some people. So we don't want to ticket inappropriately, but we do want to educate people, the public, about the purpose of the access. And I think that's it for our agenda.
There, one item.
Sure.
Just want to let everyone know, Tuesday, April 2nd is World Autism Awareness Day. And the theme this year is celebrating the spectrum. We are working on a flag raising at City Hall. I don't have the details yet. I'm just speaking with Jordan Howard, the mayor, today. So we are planning a flag raising on April 2nd. City Hall. So if you want any more information about the event or to participate, just go to Autism Ontario, and everything's up there in terms of getting schools involved in different toolkits, and you can order flags and things like that. So we will have fun.
So it'll be a flag where all those flags will be.
There is a special one. Charlotte sort of like the front in a little area. We do the time limited flags. Okay, for special occasions. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
And is it, what kind of emblem is on it?
I have to, I don't remember what, I'm just sure.
Oh,
yeah.
So, but it's not gonna be up there permanently.
No,
Just
no, it's for, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor As well,
Thanks, Jared.
great,
The one quick item, Chair, if I may. I had the occasion to have my annual review from the who sponsor our then care. Derek, I know you're looking at your building.
Yeah.
But those who receive a tenant care from the limbs should be advised that their province is setting one province-wide standard, and they may require a more thorough explanation of your need of the home care service. I receive one home care visit per week. And I always ask at the end of the year, is there any opportunity for a second visit? I was advised that the province is looking to limit or to establish one set of rules for the entire province. Each LINS has had its own particular wrinkles. And my coordinator pointed out that they're looking to trim certain items. So you're going to have to expect a more thorough explanation of why you need the service. That's the quickest way I can explain it. Include everything that your PSW does for you or someone involved with, because they're being very, I think the newer regulations will be more stringent. This was how it was explained to me. I don't have any more further information than that. Be advised. I don't know anyone's personal arrangements, but not all change is progress.
Yeah.
I think I've used that line today, but this is one of those occasions. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all. I wish I had more information, but this came to me last week. They're going, This is something folks should be made aware of.
let me know, I just want to make note, and I want everybody to be aware of there, is that, we as a committee should talk about this more. So that we brought to committee, and there's I have a lot of questions.
About services.
We know about, like, what Craig was talking about, the lit and stuff like that.
Eric, I don't know how much information is available. This was just something that came through the coordinator. Her boss had warned, literally that was what she was warned, it's not to change, nothing's been put in writing as of yet. But that they were being expected to drill down. What caused me some concern is that over the years, I spent my life to be as independent as possible. That was the goal of my parents, the goal of the physiotherapist training, that was the goal of the occupational therapist training me. I'm going back decades now. And just remember, in that conversation, we have to discuss, we're not getting to as well as, all right, in doing the computerized survey, going to have to make sure you don't leave anything out, is what I would advise. And all I know, I wish I had more detail. I don't think anybody does right now, but I just thought I'm the canary in the coal mine. This is just a warning. I don't know what's coming down the pipe, but something's coming.
Right, so these kinds of for your information, things that are coming in, we have time at the end of our meeting. We've allotted from 2 till 4 o'clock. It is wonderful that you share this information.
So be advised, I wish I had more detail, but I thought it's best to let everybody know, because I know that those annual reviews during the pandemic, that was all done over the phone. And my annual review the last 2 times was like, hey Greg, you all right? Yeah. And literally the coordinator literally called me and said, everything good? I said, yeah. And the review we took like 8 minutes. Yeah. It was a brief phone call. Now they've gone back to my review was a full hour and a half. That should give you an idea of the level of specificity they have requested.
Yeah.
From a brief phone call to an hour and a half sit down visit.
So these things are great for your information thing, but we do not have any influence over any of this. It is fabulous to bring it. We have the time.
That was my intention.
Yeah, I don't know, Eric, that we can continue conversations about provincial auditors.
But what I will do is I'll talk to you at
Yeah.
later
Absolutely. Yeah, so the conversation can start here, and if it continues, it has to continue outside of it. And that's fine, that's very here.
So that's,
Derek, I don't expect it will have any impact on moving to their services or attached to the building. But this was. But that's one of those things that I'm not, oh. I didn't realize that everything had their own set of regulations or their own variant.
Should we, if we want to continue, off camera, an informal discussion, that's fine.
Can I just,
Yes.
I just wanna keep an accessibility thing, just so people can understand what vision loss incidences happen to me. Weeks going up there. So I leave, I go out. Sometimes I catch bus, sometimes I don't. And I'm only saying this because I want people to realize that how important certain things are. I go out, usually I walk to the street and then I'll walk, but it just happened to be a day that my eyes just weren't totally focused. So I walk out the door and I walk along the building this way, and I can see the building, I can see the shape, right? And I'm walking and I'm walking, I'm thinking, geez, I'm walking awfully far, but yet the building to me looks like it's still here. And I'm waiting for the road to go that way to walk onto Elizabeth Street, but it wasn't coming, and I kept walking. And I ended up walking all the way to the fire department there. And I'm thinking, well, where am I? I didn't even know there was a road there. I had no idea. And I'm thinking, oh, well, that was pretty darn cool.
Lost again.
Halfway to Churchill Plaza, and I didn't know, okay? But that wasn't the way I was gonna go, but that's the way I ended up. There anyway, right?
Here.
But there's no color. There was no color.
Right.
And I, with my vision, okay, I thought the building was still there. And I guess it wasn't, I don't know. I thought it was. That was still there, and as I was walking, it just even.
I did the same thing and I all of a sudden it's like, it's vacant, like what? There's nothing around.
Where did you expect the color, the transition from the sidewalk to the road? Is that right where you were thinking the color should be?
I don't know, I've never had that happen. It's been coming for a few years now, it's never happened to me before, right? So either there's no color on the curb to tell me I'm at the end of the building or something, there's something missing out there. Because normally, I would know, yeah, normally I would know that I'm at the end and to turn left and then I go down that one road to get me to the Elizabeth Street there. Yeah, but it wasn't coming. Girl,
Yeah, but there may be some tactile markings that should be on the curb cut there. What happens is, as you are pointing straight down towards the pool from the arena side, where we kind of are, towards the pool, the sidewalk takes a bit of a right-hand turn and then curves around over to, Wellington Street. Trunk Road, sorry. And I think that's what you're describing, and I don't know what's there for tactile and colored markings. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I know. But now that is where my GPS for transit. And the blind square event comes in handy. I take it out, I turn it on, it tells me where I am, okay, and where the bus stop is.
Right, thank goodness.
Okay.
I
Tell everybody about that app, because let me tell you, I get disoriented, especially at nighttime sometimes. I can't find my way home. That app has saved me, I don't know how many times.
I have to do apologize to our viewers out there. We do have to put this off at this point. I apologize if we went on a little bit of a tangent, but it happens, so.
And it's all accessibility.
Yes, so just forgive me and I think I'm gonna adjourn the meeting there.
Okay, and we have 5 more minutes before anyone has to set out for the bus. So we'll end the meeting formally and you're welcome to continue conversation. Thank you both, Jeff and Councillor Hollingsworth. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another good meeting. Very informative. Thank you, everyone.